So one of you wants to sell the house, the other not budging. Now what? Let's talk about what really happens when one spouse refuses to sell and how to move forward without losing your mind. In Ontario, the matrimonial home has very special protections under the Family Law Act. Whether one or both spouses are on title, both parties have equal rights to live in the home until there's a legal agreement or court order. What this means is you can't sell the home without your spouse's written consent. You can't force them out unless you get an order for exclusive possession. And you can't ignore the home during equalization. So if one spouse says, "I'm not selling," and digs in their heels, it doesn't mean they've won. It just means you may need to take a more structured route to reach a resolution. One of the first questions that comes up in these situations is who gets to stay in the house while this all gets sorted out. If you can't agree, you may need a court to decide. That's called an exclusive possession order, and judges in Ontario don't hand them out lightly. They'll look at what's in the best interests of any children. Are there safety issues or a history of family violence? Could this impose financial hardship? They also want to consider whether either party has another place to go. But until that happens, both spouses have equal rights to live in the home, even if it's tense or uncomfortable. That's why I always recommend trying to find temporary compromises. Mediation helps. Having a realtor with strong communication skills helps even more. Here's the part a lot of people miss. Even if one spouse refuses to sell, that doesn't block the equalization process. Whether the home is sold or kept, its market value still goes into the pot when dividing assets. And in Ontario, that means the spouse who wants to keep the home needs to pay the other their fair share, either in cash through a mortgage refinance or by giving up value from other assets. So refusing to sell doesn't get someone off the hook. It just complicates the path forward. Ideally, separating couples choose whether to sell or buy out based on what's best financially and emotionally. But when one spouse refuses to sell and can't buy the other out, that's when legal intervention becomes necessary. There are a few options: mediation or collaborative family law to work toward a mutual plan, negotiation through lawyers, ideally keeping things out of court, court application under the Partition Act, where a judge can force the sale of jointly owned property. The last option, going to court, is expensive and emotionally draining. Judges generally want spouses to try every other path first, but it is a legal right in Ontario. If a jointly owned home needs to be sold, one spouse can ask the court to order the sale. Here's what I see all the time. One spouse refuses to sell because they're scared or hurt. Or they could be trying to hold on to something familiar when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Totally understandable, but often it's not sustainable. Clinging to the house can end up causing more stress financially, emotionally, and legally, especially if that refusal leads to more legal fees, delays, or damage to credit. Sometimes what feels like standing your ground is actually keeping both people stuck. That's why neutral professionals like lawyers, mediators, and yes, even me, your realtor, play such an important role in helping move things forward. Here's what I recommend. If you're dealing with a spouse who refuses to sell, stay calm. This is tough, but reacting emotionally usually backfires. Start documenting everything: dates, emails, text messages, any refusal to engage or negotiate. Get legal advice. An Ontario family lawyer can outline your options clearly. Explore mediation. Sometimes a neutral third party can break the deadlock without going to court. Talk to a realtor who specializes in divorce. You need someone who understands the legal process, stays neutral, and communicates with both spouses professionally and clearly. This is where I come in. I've helped many couples navigate this exact scenario. And often, just having a calm, neutral professional at the table helps shift the energy from confrontation to cooperation. Divorce is never just about real estate. It's about fear, transition, loss, and finding a way forward that feels fair. If you're stuck because one spouse won't sell, know that there are solutions, and you don't have to face them alone. If you're navigating separation and need trusted, neutral real estate guidance, I'm here to help. Let's make this easier together. Thank you for watching. I can't wait to get to know you.